evening and welcome to a very special Wrestlemania week edition of the Vintage Spoon Wrestling podcast. It is an exciting week. We are on the final road to WrestleMania. I am Spoon, and as always, I am joined by the New Day to my Usos, Vintage Benjamin Shelly, current cash in the bank briefcase holder, Vintage Benjamin Shelly. How you doing, Vintage?
Oh, I'm glad you put that in. I'm so happy about that.
We'll talk about that like properly at the end, I reckon, because it's really exciting. But you had a big match this last week, wasn't it? It was.
It was the 25th, I think. Yeah, so going back a week now, before Easter. What episode number is this?
This one I've got as number 11, but that doesn't count all of the ones that didn't get released. That's number 11 on YouTube. There are a couple that went out on Facebook. There's one that got deleted mysteriously because I wasn't very good at the predictions on it. There's all sorts of mysterious ones that are missing.
We need to do, like, for episode 100, we need to kind of pull all that together in some kind of super episode.
100, like, that's very...
The After Darks.
It's very bold for a podcast that has forgotten to introduce their third guest. So
it's right.
The Bludgeon Brothers to our Usos and New Day. Ross Harmston. How you doing, Ross?
Hey, very good, very good. I'm excited. Ready to go.
Thank you for being Bludgeon Brothers, so I didn't have to be Bludgeon Brothers.
Well, someone has to be the Bludgeon Brothers. I'm not sure even the Bludgeon Brothers really want to be the Bludgeon Brothers, given some of their latest stuff they've been saying, but someone has to. So we are going to be predicting the full WrestleMania card tonight. We've got a lot of predictions. We have 22 points up for grabs between all of us, so it could be it's actually slightly less than that because we're not going to count the takeover ones towards the final total. We'll do them, but we won't count them. They'll just be for funs, whereas the other ones will be also just for fun because they don't have a prize, but slightly more serious kind of fun. So it is WrestleMania week. Before we get stuck into it, however, Vintage, do you have a segment for us?
Maybe.
Oh,
which is it going to be? Quiz.
Yeah, won't be the quiz. It's too early for the quiz.
It's too early for the quiz.
Got to warm them up.
On this day, in 1998, we're going to do an ECW one.
Cool.
Rob Van Dam defeated Bam Bam Bigelow for the ECW World Television Championship.
Yeah, nice.
And the importance of this was that it was the longest ECW title reign ever.
Okay.
Because he held on to this belt for 1 year and 11 months, almost 2 years.
I always sort of forget that ECW had a TV that had like a mid-card title, which will be relevant when we get into talking about NXT, I guess, because it's such a small promotion. It seems weird that they had another singles title. But that was probably a good match. RVD Bam Bam.
But, and I think the reason he had to drop the belt just before he got to 2 years was because he broke his leg.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
So it would have been interesting to see what would have happened if he hadn't broken his leg and where they would have gone with it. But still, it's the longest title reign ever, apparently.
Oh, wow.
I'm guessing for ECW because, obviously, in the rich tradition of WWF, they've had like Bruno Sammartino.
Yeah, it's not quite a Bruno 1,000+ days, is it? It's
Okay, then fast forward to 2001, slightly off the beaten track, this one. We're going to Combat Zone Wrestling.
Oh, wow.
Combat Zone Wrestling.
So there was a change of the CZW tag team titles.
Right.
And I just thought you probably won't recognise any of these, but I'll just give you a flavour of the types of wrestlers you'll get at the CZW show. So it was Nick Gage and Nate Hatred.
Right.
They defeated Wife Beater and Justice Pain.
Oh, yeah, Wife Beater. I remember. CZW.
Oh, of course it would have been Wife Beater, yeah.
We used to watch bootlegs of that, didn't we, when we were kids? That's...
we may have watched perfectly legal copies of those shows.
It was like 1996. No one's coming for us, don't we? CZW's like... it it was like half backyard wrestling, half ECW, wasn't it? It was ridiculous.
It was. They had to do a lot of their shows in a field in Delaware. I seem to recall that's where they ran out of, because obviously ECW was out of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And they were based in Delaware, which I don't know if you know much about. You probably know your American geography. But Delaware's renowned for not being a very interesting state and not having much to it.
Right.
So they were in the middle of this in Delaware in a field. And I think it's because the State Athletic Commission wouldn't let them do their shows inside a building.
Wow.
Because of the insurance benefits.
Really?
So they would literally just drive to a field and then put a ring up in the middle of a field and tell people. And I think it was all like word of mouth.
I mean, I think it's fair to say that, Vintage, you are now at a point in your wrestling career where you wrestle in more glamorous venues than CZW. You've overtaken one of the federations that we used to watch as teenagers.
Yeah, they have roofs and everything.
I know, it's pretty high-end stuff.
What is wife beater's gimmick? Is
he beats his wife.
Beater, or he wears
no, he beat up his wife. That was his gimmick.
I thought you were going with he just wears a vest like a wife beater's vest.
No, it is implied that he is a domestic abuser. That is.
Yeah.
Wow.
You'd come to the ring with a big packet of crisps and then just be eating the crisps and then throw them around and
drinking Stella or something,
Yeah, that sort of thing.
The gimmick was basically imagine the Sandman, but if he was a worse person.
He was massively over though. He was like their top baby face.
I know.
He was a baby face.
Yes. This is CZW.
Delaware man.
I'm definitely going to watch that.
He's an ex-Marine as well.
Oh, God.
He was massive,
Oh, the world's awful. All right, what else?
Okay, fast forward. Well, I was going to say fast forward, but I just realised I've not got these chronologically correct because we're finishing off with 1993. Mm-hmm. So we started off in 98, fast forwarded to 2001, and going back to 1993 to WrestleMania 9.
WrestleMania 9. Everyone's favourite WrestleMania.
So what was the main event of WrestleMania 9, Spoon?
The actual, what ended up being the main event was Hulk Hogan versus Yokozuna in a 6-second, I think, match for the WWE title. It was supposed to be Bret Hart versus Yokozuna, but for some reason, Bret lost to Yokozuna because of salt in the face, and then Hulk Hogan walked down to the ring, and for no reason, with a black eye, and for no reason whatsoever, Hulk had already wrestled. For no reason, Mr. Fuji gave Hulk Hogan a world title match then and there, like a Money in the Bank cash-in, except the champion challenged Hogan and didn't have to, and Hogan won it in 6 seconds. And it was the whole thing was it left a really sour thing because the whole thing had been set up as Hogan. It would be a way of sending out WrestleMania on a high with a babyface holding the title, but it would take the title off Bret Hart, and then at SummerSlam that year, Hogan versus Bret Hart would be the world title match, and Hogan would put Bret Hart over on his way out of the company, and it would be a way of setting up the new generation that was going to take over. But what actually happened was that Hulk got hold of the belt and then immediately changed his mind, dropped it back to Yokozuna in a shenanigans thing so he didn't really have to lose, and then quit the company. So he never put Bret Hart over. Wonderful man.
There is reasons for him doing that, because he's Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And he has to be in every main event.
Oh, God, yes. He does.
Maybe when he dies, they can name the female battle royal after him.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, he's done as much for female wrestling as the Fabulous. No, maybe not quite as much as the...
More good stuff.
More good stuff. Just it's a stretch, but yes, I think Hulk Hogan is moderately a better person than the Fabulous Moolah. Moderately. Okay, so is that it for On This Day?
That'll do.
Very good. WrestleMania.
To be fair, there's other lesser renowned and less good YouTube channels which try to do this, but We are still.
rubbish.
Yeah, you've been
They're
watching
rubbish.
Cultaholic, haven't you? You've been getting. Do you steal this idea from there, or
They stole it from me. They never started doing it.
they've been watching? They're one of the people watching our show. Well, thank you, Cultaholic, if you are one of the people watching our show, because
So
we need
shout
the
out.
we
Hang
need
on,
the
let's do the
numbers.
shout outs.
All right.
Shout out to Paul.
Shout out to Paul.
Paul's cat.
Hey, Paul's cat.
Alice.
Hi, Alice? No, she's
Yes. No, I promised Paul we'd shout out to her.
All right, hi, Alice.
Jennifer Louise, who's the pretty blonde girl from Cultaholic.
Right, okay. I'm sure she'll be happy with that description.
No name or
Jennifer Louise.
Yeah, she has
okay.
got a name.
And now that we know that she's watching, and that'll do.
That'll do.
Nick. Shout out to
Nick.
Nick.
Hey, Nick. I like that you got a girl off a YouTube channel who does a show similar to yours, but definitely doesn't watch our show, before you got our friend Nick, who does, and who has listened to every show. Hi, Nick. Thank you for listening.
And Flex. Shout out to Flex Flanders as well. Because
Hi, Flex Flanders. I didn't say
star.
that you were a porn star.
suplex him. Suplex.
No. Do not want to get any kind of special move city. Right. It's WrestleMania week. We've got so much wrestling to watch this weekend. It is really exciting. I'm especially excited for completely by accident. I booked a day off the day after WrestleMania, so I will be getting drunk with Ross and watching WrestleMania and Takeover, which is exciting. Vintage, how are you planning on watching WrestleMania?
I'm so jealous. I would have taken the day off as well, but instead I'm driving up to Derbyshire to spend a week in Derbyshire for work.
That's fine. They've got Wi-Fi in Derbyshire, I'm sure. You'll be able to catch up. We'll try not to send you spoilers. Although we'll be watching it late anyway.
I might watch the pre-show.
Nice. Well, the pre-show is always worth a watch. You get to see Booker T, not really knowing what anything is.
Yeah, talking nonsense.
They'll roll the king out again. It's always a riot.
Yeah, Neville's match last year was awesome.
It was one of the best. It was one of the best matches. And actually, when we get to it, the pre-show this year looks all right. I think there should be some interesting stuff on it. But let's get into our predictions, and we'll see how we do on those. So to begin with, we're going to very quickly go through and we're going to have a crack at predicting NXT TakeOver, which will be on Saturday night. We are not counting these towards the final scores, though, because I'm the only one who really watches a lot of NXT. So
I do as well.
Yeah, you're pretty up to date on it, aren't you? But Vintage hates it. Vintage, you don't like them young folks.
There's no point following it, because as soon as they come up to the main roster, it's like seeing your favourite series being cancelled after the first series.
It is a little.
It's like a reboot. It's like a reboot. Yeah.
Have we got Alexa? There's some. All right, let's do NXT TakeOver.
Alexa is the Family Guy.
Alexa, the one that made it. So NXT TakeOver looks very, very good. NXT had a bit of a golden age a few years ago when you had people like Samoa Joe and Finn Balor there. There were a lot of great things. They all moved up, and then it took, I don't know about a dip in quality, but it certainly didn't feel as big for quite a while because they had a lot of new people that they were building up. So this time last year, they were sort of establishing who everyone was and working out. So, for example, this time last year, Bobby Roode dropped the world title. That was the main event in a sort of so-so match. He dropped it that's because he came up just after Mania. Ty Dillinger was wrestling there last year. So there are some interesting things. There are some interesting omissions from the card as well, but we'll get to those. So the first match on the card. Now, bear in mind this may change because we're recording this on Wednesday. We haven't yet seen this week's NXT, which will have the final of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, in which the Authors of Pain are wrestling Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne. The winner of that will face the Undisputed Era in the tag match. So it could be either one of these teams. We're going to go ahead and say maybe there'll be shenanigans and it will be all three of them. because why not? That's what I've seen listed on some sites. NXT's pre-recorded, so that might be what happens tonight. We'll wait and see. So the NXT Tag Team Title match, the Undisputed Era, which is going to. The Undisputed Era are the kind of cool heel stable. In this match, it's normally Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. Bobby Fish is out with an injury, so it's going to be Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole who'll be pulling double duty that night, defending the tag titles.
So it's like a Freebird rule.
Yeah, kind of that kind of thing. They're a 3-person stable. I'm a big fan. Kyle O'Reilly does the playing the belt like a guitar as part of his entrance, doing the old Hogan thing, which always happy to see back. They're going to be up against the Authors of Pain, who are former champions, and the surprise team of Roderick Strong and United Kingdom champion Pete Dunne, who has
I've heard of him.
You have heard of him. There you go. There's a favourite. Well, they were put into the Dusty Classic as a replacement because Tyler Bate got injured and Mustache Mountain had to pull out. And they have surprisingly won all of their matches up to this point. Neither of those teams, I would have said, were the favourites to win the Classic going into it. And yet, here we are. So, let's start with Ross. First prediction of this mammoth show. Who have you got and why?
So, I think Undisputed Era are gonna win this one. I think, like you said, they're quite a good team. They're getting quite a lot of heat in NXT at the moment, and then I think probably Authors of Pain probably come up.
Yeah,
and maybe to the main roster. Because I don't see Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong winning, because they're not really like an established tag team. So I think Undisputed are probably going to win. Yeah,
I think I agree with that. I think it's too early to take the belts off the Undisputed Era. They're trying to build them as a power faction within it. I think Adam Cole is a future champion for NXT. They want to kind of protect that. We've already seen, I think, kind of if it is going to be the three of them, I think that would be good because we have already seen the Undisputed Era versus Authors of Pain at the last takeover. It's a good match, but we've seen it. So I think having Dunne and Strong in there makes it more interesting, but there's a lot of talk about the fact that they're going to do a UK show. They really seem to want to revive this UK project that they're doing, and I think they need Pete Dunne for that. I don't think putting tag belts on him, because we know he only flies out to the US for short periods to film big blocks of NXT, so he's got to be coming towards the end of his latest trip. So I don't think they're going to put a title. He has to be there regularly on him. So I think also the Undisputed Era. Vintage, based on all of those things that you've heard of these teams you don't know, who are you going to pick?
Well, who's Pete Dunne's partner?
Roderick Strong, who you will have seen on, if you've watched any 205 lately, if you've seen, he's an ROH guy, he's a big indie guy, he's sort of an underdog, he's like kind of main event enhancement talent almost, he's that kind of Sami Zayn kind of thing, but in NXT. He can
Roddy
never quite
Strong,
close it. Yeah, Roddy Strong. And
he sounds strong, so let's say him and Dunne to win.
Strong and Dunne. It's great. I don't know if, Dunne seems to have pulled like a kind of a face turn on NXT.
Yeah.
He's like KO, I guess, isn't he? Just too likable.
Yeah, a little bit. He's got a kind of a there's a bit of it's not quite rock and sock, but there's a thing where you can tell Dunne doesn't really seem to like Pete. He doesn't seem to like Strong or anyone else, but it's just sort of getting on with it.
Well, Strong's got a strong name.
He has.
Pete Dunne does British Strong style, so
well that goes.
I'm expecting a Strong show in here. So
maybe
I think
they'll call him Strong style. I mean, Roderick Strong has the same name as one of our only listeners. So let's give him some props based on that. Okay, next up, and what could be. I would say there's a good chance could be one of the matches of the whole weekend. The unsanctioned street fight. Johnny Gargano versus his former tag team partner, Tommaso Ciampa. Johnny Gargano has been fired from NXT after losing a career match. But if he wins this unsanctioned match, then he gets his job back. William Regal has sanctioned an unsanctioned match for him to get his job back. Wrestling. I'll start on this one. I feel like we should let Vintage go last on all of these, so you can learn who the people are before making a prediction. I'm going to go with my heart and say Johnny Gargano. There is a good chance that he's going to lose it again because he loses well, and it's a big part of his gimmick. But there's a chance they might move him up. I sort of hope that we get to see him have his revenge on Ciampa. I think that would be great. See that before moving them up. Because I don't think Ciampa's going up anytime soon. I think he's got a bit of stuff left to do in NXT. So, I would like to see Johnny wrestling, get his win back, have another 6 months or so in NXT, another year maybe, and then go up at the end. Ross, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think the same as well. Exactly what you said. Johnny Gargano,
cool,
is going to get his revenge, I guess, because it'd be silly if he didn't. After all the storytelling he's been doing, to culminate with him losing again, it would be a bit weird.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think the same, and then I think probably you will see him maybe Royal Rumble next year. Gargano, I reckon.
I think that would be a sensible time to do it. I think that would be where you do it, because you don't have to bring them up if it's the Rumble. It can be, you can kind of do it as a tease, see how it works. All right, that means Vintage. Time has come. Choose your combatant.
Well, the thing is, I think you're both wrong. I think it's got to be Chompy, hasn't it?
Yeah? Why do you say that?
Because Chompy sounds like Swampy.
Right, yep. I mean, that's good. That is definitely a good argument.
And I think he's just going to put him in the Chompy lock. And
put him in the Chompy lock. Yep.
And Gregory, or whatever he's called, just going to tap out.
Gregory and Chompy.
Johnny Gregory.
I've got to say, I cannot say enough good things about the build for this feud. Since Ciampa's been back, the last three, the way it's kind of come around, that Ciampa has effectively has made this mistake and agreed to let him come back. Ciampa cost him, Johnny Gargano, his career. He interfered in the match.
Spoonie.
Yeah,
Chompy.
All right, Chompy cost Johnny Gargano his career, and then the next night comes out the next show comes out on NXT to try and do his promo, and he doesn't say a word. He gets booed off before he can say anything. He comes back the next week and tries to do it, gets booed off again, starts grabbing Gargano signs off people in the crowd, getting cross, and then it happens a third, and it's basically he's just been broken down week by week to the point that it's like a Shakespearean thing. He's been driven insane by the fact that he's gotten rid of this guy and he can't get the fans to stop cheering for him, and so he's agreed to let him come back so he can have another fight with him. It's just brilliant story. It's the sort of storytelling NXT does really well.
I changed my mind. I think Gregory might break out the Chompy lock, and I think he might win.
Well, you think he's going to reverse it and use Chompy's own Chompy lock? I don't even know which we're talking about now.
Gregory's going over. I changed my mind.
Gregory's going over. All right.
Payoff. I mean, after watching the Sami Zayn versus Neville, and Bayley versus Sasha, it feels like they've got the build now, and they're just going to give you the payoff.
Okay. So NXT Women's Title match: Ember Moon versus Shayna Baszler, the other UFC woman on the roster, the other 4-horsewoman. Vintage, have you seen Shayna Baszler wrestle?
Turkey baster.
Okay, no. Do you want to flip a coin on it?
No, I think Ember Moon's retaining because she's got really intense contact lenses, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. That's true. That is a true fact about Ember Moon. That's one at least. Ross, who have you got for this one? You going with the contact lenses?
No, I'm going to go with Shayna Baszler.
Yeah.
Turkey baster.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Turkey Baster just because I think it'd be quite a cool thing to put a belt on her and then have them fight again.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily think she's probably ready for a belt yet, but, you know, it'd be quite nice to see them mix it up a little bit and give her the belt and then have them feud, Ember Moon and her feud a little bit more. And then sort of, it could turn out to be like an Asuka thing where she like just dominates and is the champ for ages, but we'll see. Yeah, so I'm going to say Shayna Baszler.
Shayna Baszler. I'm going Baszler as well. I think she needs to win it. She's been booked as the monster. She's the Brock Lesnar of NXT. She's been destroying people everywhere. She killed Moon in their last title match and only just lost it by a fluke roll up. So I think if she doesn't win it here, then it damages her. Also, her feud is she's kind of got a running feud with Kairi Sane. Kairi Sane is probably the next person in line for championship stuff, which is a shame because it should be Nikki Cross. The only situation where I could see maybe Baszler not winning would be if they're still worried about Ronda Rousey and they decide they want to bring Shayna Baszler up quickly to put the four horsewomen together and put her Ronda together because they know each other and Shayna could teach her a few things because Shayna's quite good now.
Yeah.
But I think that messes with too many things, and I think if they did bring her up, they'd do it as a special thing. So I think Baszler's going to take the belt. Which brings us to potentially the other show stealer of the weekend. The championship match, talking earlier about small promotions having lots of singles titles. The NXT North American Championship will be decided for the first time in a 6-way ladder match between the Velveteen Dream, Killian Dane, Adam Cole again, Lars Sullivan, Ricochet, and EC3 of TNA fame or Impact Wrestling fame. Ross, who have you got and why?
Well, I didn't even know that EC3 or Ricochet were in it, but that's probably because I'm a little bit behind on NXT. But that's probably going to be one of them. I reckon that'll probably be the match of the night. I reckon.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's going to be really good. It's going to be hard. If this is purely because I think that Undisputed Era will retain, I think it'd be cool if Adam Cole won, because then they could sort of be the dominant faction. Yeah. And like they could all have like all the belts. So I'm going to say I would, like, my heart wants to go with Velveteen Dream because I like him, but I just don't think he will win. So I'm going to say Adam Cole.
Cool. Adam Cole. Vintage, what do you reckon?
I reckon
you must know some of these. Some of these are indie guys. You've seen some of these guys wrestle.
I reckon E equals MC squared.
EC3. That's... You joke, but that's actually not a bad shout.
Well, it's the theory of mass and relativity, isn't it?
It is, but also he's I feels like he's kind of slated for something big. He's got a good look. He's the sort of person who would work on the main roster. He works well on the mic. He's a weird character because EC3 is the name he had in Impact Wrestling, which is to do with the fact that he was supposed to be Dixie Carter's son or nephew, I think. Like he's meant to be related to Dixie. Yeah, he's meant to be related to Dixie Carter, which obviously Impact doesn't exist in the world of Vince McMahon, so they can't ever mention that. And yet he's still kind of got that name. There's so many people in here who would be great with it. I am going to go with my heart and say the Velveteen Dream. He's been on a charge lately. He is really over, and he absolutely deserves it. He deserves a step up towards something. This is a good way of giving him a push. So I'm going to say the Dream will take that one. Which takes us to our final match of TakeOver before we get into the real meat. the NXT Championship match. Andrade Cien Almas defending against the Dutch Destroyer, undefeated Aleister Black. I'll start us off. I think it's got to be Aleister Black. I think Almas has done an amazing job as champion. I think he will come up to the main roster. But yeah, I don't see any way of derailing Aleister Black's momentum without it damaging things. So I think Black takes it. Ross?
I think that it will probably be Aleister Black as well. I think, as you said, he's done a good job. And I think, it's time for someone new to have it. And yeah, basically, what you're saying.
Cool. Vintage.
What's the Mexican guy called again?
Andrade Cien Almas. He was at the Royal Rumble. He had that 5-star match with Gargano as well recently.
So I think it's going to be Aleister. It doesn't matter if you're black or white.
Full sweep for Aleister Black. I think that's a good shout. It's you often get a title change at the WrestleMania Takeover. And that is our predictions for NXT Takeover. So that was good. Now...
Quiz.
And then we'll get into the WrestleMania. All right, then. Let's do this.
Yeah. I'm just really worried that once we get into WrestleMania, we're not going to have the energy to do the quiz.
We're going to get too excited. It's a long... Oh, God. How are we going to... There's going to be so much wrestling. I always forget how long WrestleMania is. All right. What's the theme of this week's quiz?
Well, seeing as we've got WrestleMania coming up and the NXT TakeOver, it only makes sense that I revive a format we've done previously.
Mm-hmm.
So this is title reigns, much like we did for the Intercontinental title.
Yep.
Which I know was a favourite of yours.
It was.
So now we're going to go for an even more prestigious belt than the IC title.
Oh my goodness.
Can you guess what it is?
Is it the light heavyweight championship?
I was going to say it is a retired belt.
Okay. Go on, what championship is it?
It is going to be the Hardcore Championship.
Nice.
I win a point already. Yeah.
You get 30 points for that.
All right.
And this does not bode well for you, Spoonie, because there's less than 30 questions on this.
Okay.
Okay, so who was the first? This is not for any points, unless Ross gets it right, in which case he can get another 30 points.
Oh, what?
Who was the first Hardcore champion?
I know. Ross, do you want to answer?
No, you go first, man. You go first.
It was Mick Foley. He was given the belt by Vince McMahon as a joke.
So, Ross, any answers on Mick Foley?
Yeah, Mick Foley.
You're both wrong. It's Mankind.
Fine.
Okay. I'm not going to say, obviously, I'm not going to say how many reigns they've had till the end because it makes it too easy.
Sure.
So going from Mankind to Hardcore Holly.
Is this number of reigns, yeah?
Number of reigns.
More.
Less.
It is more. Hardcore Holly did have more reigns than Mankind. Hardcore Holly to Stephen Richards.
Fewer.
Yeah, fewer.
Stephen Richards had more.
Oh, no. I thought Hardcore had loads just because he was around Crash all the time.
And he was called Hardcore Holly.
Yeah.
Okay. Stephen Richards to Bubba Ray Dudley.
I reckon Bubba Ray just dipped into the division, so fewer.
Fewer.
He did have fewer. These numbers are going to blow your mind, by the way.
Okay.
Okay. Bubba Ray to Goldust.
Bubba Ray to Goldust. I'd say more.
Fewer.
It is fewer. Goldust had fewer than Bubba Ray. Yes. Goldust to Al Snow.
Oh, that's got to be more. Al Snow must have held it a bunch of times.
Yeah, more.
It's less.
Oh my god.
Okay, so Al Snow had less than Goldust. Al Snow to Shane McMahon.
Less. He must have just had a couple.
You saying more, Ross?
Yeah.
That's the thing. The reason I had Shane McMahon in this list is because he's the sort of person you'd expect to have loads. He had less than Al Snow, though.
Okay, good.
Okay. Shane McMahon to Test. And the only reason he's on this list is because he's one of Spoonie's favourite wrestlers.
Test is. I love Test. I think Test is brilliant. He's the thinking man's Diesel. I think Test had more. Test had more than Shane McMahon.
Test did have more than Shane McMahon, I'm afraid, Ross.
Yeah.
Test to Regal.
Did Regal get stuck in the hardcore division?
Well,
Less.
More.
he did have more.
Oh my god.
One stat I will let you in on.
Yeah.
All of Regal's reigns combined were less than a day.
Nice.
Okay, Regal to Rhino.
Regal to Rhino. Fewer. I don't think Rhino really. I think Rhino maybe held it a little bit. He only came in right near the end of it. When they were doing it.
Fewer. Yeah.
He did have fewer, yes. Rhino to Tommy Dreamer.
Tommy Dreamer. Fewer. I don't think he ever held it.
Fewer.
Tommy Dreamer had more.
Oh, okay.
Tommy Dreamer to Jeff Hardy.
More.
Fewer.
It is fewer.
Nah.
Jeff Hardy to Bradshaw.
More.
Fewer.
More. Okay, we've only got a few left.
All right.
Bradshaw to the human commentating machine, Taz.
Fewer. I don't think. Oh no! Wait, Taz did. I don't know. More.
It is fewer. Taz to Kane.
Taz to Kane. More. Kane held it quite a lot. Kane had some good hardcore matches.
More.
It's less. Kane to the last one. Big Boss Man.
Big Boss Man. More.
Less.
Spoonie is right. It is more.
Yes.
I mean, why you say yes? You didn't win, did you?
I definitely won. I was keeping track.
No, because Ross had a 30-point head start over
yeah. Go on, give us the stats. This is why we do this, is so we can hear the stats at the end of it. What are the numbers?
So, one person that I didn't include on the list was Raven.
Okay.
Well, I don't think I included Raven on the list.
I don't. Did he? I don't know. He definitely did. He hold it.
Raven had the most reigns.
Oh, okay.
With 27.
Oh, wow.
Okay, you ready for this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mankind 1.
Okay.
Hardcore Holly 6.
Right.
Stephen Richards. How many do you reckon for Stephen Richards?
Stephen Richards, was he more or less?
He was more.
He was more. Not more than what? 8.
21.
Oh my god.
Okay,
Job squad.
I'm going to whiz through
Okay,
these.
do it.
Ray 10. Goldust 9. Al Snow 6. Shane McMahon 1. Test 2. Regal 5. Rhino 3. Tommy Dreamer 14. Jeff Hardy 3. Bradshaw 17. Taz 3. Yes. Kane 1. Big Boss Man 4.
Oh, wow. So Crash Holly wasn't on your list, was he?
Yeah, I don't know why Crash Holly's on. That's weird.
I think maybe he has the largest. I don't know if he has the longest combined time with it, or he might just be he's the most renowned. He's the most famous one on it. That kind of was the hardcore division, wasn't it? Was Crash escaping from people down slides and stuff for so long.
Yeah, let me get him up because he's had a few.
He's had quite a lot. Raven though, can't believe that.
Yeah, Crash Holly had 22.
22. Okay, so just behind Raven. Wow. What a silly, silly championship. I miss it. You couldn't do it now, but it was great when it was around.
Yeah.
I don't know. They have no DQ matches nowadays, don't they?
Yeah, it's true. We'll see. Right, let's predict the mammoth card that is WrestleMania 2018. which is very exciting. We've got all the matches, and we've got a couple of bonus points that will be available there as well. So first of all, we're going to start with the pre-show, which opens up with the Cruiserweight Championship match: Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali. Let's start with Ross. Who have you got and why?
Mustafa Ali for no reason, because I don't. Because I'm just gonna guess. I have no backstory on this championship. Really, I haven't been watching it, but I'm gonna say Mustafa Ali. I think it'll be a good match. I think it'll be quite high flying and quite what do you call it, physical. But yeah, I think Mustafa Ali.
Mustafa Ali. Vintage. What do you reckon?
Mustafa Ali.
Mustafa Ali as well. He has been getting a big push lately. I think it'll be a good match. I think it's actually quite nice that it's on the pre-show because they'll get a bit more time to do it. It was a shame that it was on the Cruiserweight match was on the pre-show last year because Neville and Aries deserved better because they felt like a bigger match. These guys, I think it feels like a pre-show match, and I think it'll be good. I think Cedric Alexander is going to win it. He was the next in line before everything went wrong with Enzo, so I think they'll still put it on him. I think they feel he deserves it. He's great in the ring. Not super charismatic, but great. I think it'll be a good match. Next one, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So to give a bit of an idea on it, the currently confirmed participants, there's going to be a bunch of them. I wonder if Tanker will show up again. But currently confirmed: Dolph Ziggler, Matt Hardy, The Revival, Mojo Rawley, Baron Corbin, Goldust, Ty Dillinger, Breezango. I think Zack Ryder's in there as well. Basically everyone else, they're going to be in that. The Andre Battle Royal, often used as a way of kind of signaling that someone is sort of important without actually putting a title on them. Although they gave Mojo the win last year. Although it seemed pretty clear that Jinder was supposed to win it, and then they changed it last minute so they could do a celebrity thing. We'll start with Vintage. Who do you think is going to win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and take home that big, beautiful trophy?
It is a hard one, actually. I did consider Ziggler for a while because he is the most paid person in that match.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that you're going to waste your money if you've not got him winning that. But then you come back to the whole reason why they do this, and it's replacing what King of the Ring really, isn't it? It's both. Well, I guess you've got Money in the Bank as replace King of the Ring, but this is another opportunity to actually say kind of push someone.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is kind of swerve it slightly, and I think it'd be interesting if Baron Corbin won it.
You think he'll go for a 2-time?
Yes, because I think that would be quite an interesting story to tell, to say that he was the first person to win it twice. And it could be another way of trying to get him back up the card again.
Yeah, I could see that, a bit of a rehabilitation. I'm going to take a long shot and say that Bray Wyatt, or whatever incarnation of Bray Wyatt we will have, is going to... Oh, that's so stupid. It's going to be the Raw after Mania he comes back, isn't it? No, I'm going to stick with it. Bray Wyatt's going to win the Andre Rock.
It could be Braun's partner as well, not to skip ahead too much.
Yeah, it could be. No, I'm sticking. Bray Wyatt is going to come back, and he's going to win that, and he's going to take that trophy back to his creepy little shack in the swamps.
Why do you do that? He's going to be a third Bludgeon Brother.
He's going to be it's going to be Sister Abigail. It's going to be He's going to come back as Andre the Giant. That's his new gimmick.
Did you hear that there's actually a rumor going around that he might be Taker?
Oh no!
That they might just give him the gimmick, like Doink the Clown, or some of the Japanese gimmicks where they get passed down.
Oh God!
Yay!
Oh well, for all our sakes, let's hope he doesn't and he wins the Andre Battle Royal. Ross, who have you got?
I'm going to go with Zack Ryder.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why. I just think it'll be. Most of my predictions are just like, I don't know why. I think it'd be quite cool to have like a moment. I've just got a picture of a moment where Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley are going to be in the ring, and he's going to be like, oh, you betrayed me and all this stuff, and then and then he's going to throw Mojo out.
Nice. That'd be a good showdown. Always nice to give that rider. Yeah, I think it's good. We've got so many predictions. We need some that have no reasons, I think. Cool. Okay. So the next one up is the Don't Mention the Fabulous Moolah Memorial Women's Battle Royal between all of the women who aren't in other matches on the card. Currently confirmed participants are Sasha Banks, Bayley, Becky Lynch, Naomi, Natalia, Riot Squad, but basically it's everyone except Paige and the people who are currently wrestling. I will start. I think it's going to be Bayley. I think it will come down to her and Sasha, or maybe Bayley will turn on Sasha and then throw someone else out. I'm fairly confident Mandy Rose will be the first person eliminated because they seem to like that as a gimmick. But yeah, I think it's going to be Bayley. Ross, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think the same. I think it's going to be Bayley. I think purely she's been turning into a little bit of. She's been doing kind of heely stuff in SmackDown anyway, Bayley.
Yeah.
In terms of just attacking Sasha, but before she's even done anything and stuff like that. And it just seems a really weird angle. So I reckon there might be a little bit of I think a little showdown with them, or she's going to eliminate Sasha without when they're both in the ring, or something's going to happen where it's going to be a little.
This feud's a really weird thing, given that Bayley is sort of the female Randy Savage with a lot of her look and her gimmick. There's so many similarities to this and the Mega Powers, in that Sasha is definitely the heel. If you look at everything she's done, she's the worst friend in all this. And the heel commentators are pointing this out. Supposedly, and we're meant to not trust them because they're they're the heels saying that Sasha's not trustworthy, but she's definitely the Hogan in this, and Bayley is definitely justified in anything that happens. But we'll see. Vintage, who are you picking?
I was toying with that idea that it would come down to those two because they need to kind of have that payoff. But I'm going to swerve it slightly. I can see them two eliminating each other at the same time and leaving the real winner, which let's take a shot in the dark and say Ruby Riott.
Ruby Riott. I had Carmella half written out for you already.
She's going to be too busy later on.
Yeah. She's going to take a flying RKO, so you forget all about her.
Carmella's winning it.
Carmella.
I'm going to be so gutted now if it's Ruby Riott. But no, I can't say no to Carmella.
Can't say no to Carmella. That's the pre-show done, which takes us to the WrestleMania main card. And the first prediction of the main card is a wild card. One. It's not a match. Very simple. Will Hulk Hogan appear on the WrestleMania show? Vintage, yes or no?
What? Where was that?
Yeah, I put it in just a minute ago because we were talking about Hogan earlier, and that is one of the rumors.
Is this a bonus point? So don't actually.
A bonus point, but it counts. There are rumors that Hogan was at the Andre the Giant HBO documentary premiere. He was seen talking to Triple H. There's a press statement a little while ago about WWE are working with Hulk Hogan to find ways that he can positively give back to the community or atone for his mistakes. They're trying to rehabilitate him. So there is talk that maybe we will have Hogan at WrestleMania, but we don't know. Yes. He's going to be there. I think no, he will not be there. I think I've set you up. I just hope not. I don't want to see him. I think there's enough good stuff going on. Don't need old man there. Ross, what do you reckon?
Yeah, he's going to be there.
You're going to see it. You're going to have a Hogan. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope he turns up now. It's going to be my biggest pop of the night when he turns up now.
I know. So, next up, because we think this might be the first match. I don't know if it will be, but we'll see. But for a bonus point, who will Braun Strowman's partner be when he challenges for the tag team titles? I will start us off. I think it's going to be Elias. I think they've got the history. Elias he's not doing anything. He doesn't have a match yet, so I reckon that's where it's going. I think it's going to be. I think he's going to be teaming up with Braun. As much as I love Brain Strowman was pretty great. It'd be great if you just actually came out together, and it turns out that there is another guy. He's a real person. Ross, who do you reckon?
Rey Mysterio.
Nice.
Because there was rumours of him going to be put in against, I think it was John Cena if Undertaker wasn't ready.
Yeah, there was talk of it.
I reckon he might. Your shout is pretty good as well, but I'm just going to swerve it and just go Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio, okay. Vintage?
I'm glad you mentioned Brains, because I was going to say if it's anyone else but Brains, I'm going to be disappointed.
I love Brains.
Elias is the most obvious one.
Yeah.
And if there's anything I've learned by doing these predictions, it's always go with the obvious answer, because it's always the answer. So that's why I'm going to say Big Cass.
Big Cass. Oh, nice. That would be... Oh, imagine if it was a return. That could be exciting.
Well, he's due to return, and it would just do in the world of good to have Braun give him some rub.
It really would. Yeah, he really needs something like that to get some momentum when he comes back.
Give him some hands or whatever, you know.
Yeah, he'll get these hands. So in that case, the next prediction is for the Raw Tag Team Championships. The Bar versus Braun Strowman and either Rey Mysterio, Big Cass, Elias, or Brain Strowman. Ross, who have you got?
Again, like I always keep thinking that the Bar are gonna lose their title because of Sheamus's neck, but apparently not. Apparently he's fine. So I'm gonna say, I'll say the Bar are gonna retain because I just don't see that Braun Strowman needs a tag belt. I just think that he needs something. He needs something else. I would put him in a different title picture. But yeah, I think they're only just doing it because they're like, we need to put him in a title match. So yeah, let's put him in a tag match. So I would prefer them to put him in a different title match, but we'll see.
Okay.
So yeah,
going for the Bar. We have learned on this podcast that betting against the Bar is a foolish thing to do. We've been doing this for a while. Vintage, who have you got?
So for me, I think if he was teamed with Elias, which I think is going to happen, I don't know why I said Big Cass, but I'm still Big Cass. If he's with Elias, I can see him win the belts. And contrary to what Ross said, I think he does need the belt. He's not had any gold yet, and I think the tag team title's perfect for him because it gives him something to do for the next 6 months without having to push him, because he's long overdue to have his big push, and it's another way of kind of keeping him on the back burner, keep him looking strong, let him dominate the tag division, and the tag division needs something, especially the Raw one, that needs something happening to it to make it more interesting because nothing's really sticking or getting over there. So it works perfectly if they stick the belts on him and Elias.
Yeah, I think I 100% agree. I think that Braun and Cass Mysterio, Elias, all of them are big stable. I think they're gonna, because I can see a thing where Braun and Elias are tag champions, and Braun just keeps killing Elias. Braun wins the matches on his own. Elias comes in, Braun power slams Elias, and then just walks out carrying Elias and both tag belts. And I think Elias is good enough at comedy to kind of do that without completely getting buried, but I could see that being and it sets up a face turn for Elias quite well, which I think they kind of want to do. So I think I think Braun is going to take it.
I don't think they'll turn him though, because again, it's another case of the fans doing something that WWE don't want to do, i.e. cheering the heel. So they're going to be like, no, he's staying heel.
Oh yeah, we will get to that. Don't you worry. That is coming up in a couple of matches' time. But before that, we've got the SmackDown Tag Team Title match: the Usos versus the New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers. Your favourite tag team, Vintage. So why don't you start us off? Who have you got and why?
That's the Bludgeon Brothers, isn't it?
Yeah.
the thing is, if it was a gimmick match, I could see one of the other teams going over, but it's not. So they've kind of put themselves into a corner now where if the Bludgeon Brothers don't win, then they kind of have to take them off TV. It's got to that stage now.
They were in a comedy skit this week on SmackDown. They're the New Day and the Usos. Before what is meant to be this life and death monster struggle against the Bludgeon Brothers, we're doing just like a comedy advert shilling the WWE network and talking about how WrestleMania is free if you're a new subscriber. And then the Bludgeon Brothers just came in and hit the camera. They're just hanging out backstage with them now. They're so underdone. I hope Luke Harper gets a chance to do something really great because I still believe in Luke Harper. It's going to be I think it's the Bludgeon Brothers. There's talk this would be a TLC match for a little while, but that's kind of gone. I think it's going to be a not quite as good rerun of the triple threat between DIY, Revival, and Authors of Pain from a year or so ago. I think you'll have some really innovative stuff of the New Day and the Usos working together to try and keep the Bludgeon Brothers down, but ultimately it won't be enough, and the brothers will win. And then they'll feud with Breezango. I don't know. So yeah, Bludgeon Brothers for me. Russ?
I'm going to swerve and go New Day.
New Day.
This is a new day.
Just purely because I hope that they don't make the Bludgeon Brothers champs, because that would really upset me. So I'm going to go with New Day and pray and hope that they win.
Gotta hope. Hope springs eternal. You'll
see me next to you when I just constantly drinking if Bludgeon Brothers do win.
Well, you got a birthday coming up. I'll get you a Bludgeon Brothers shirt. Don't worry. You can get on board.
Thanks,
to go with your 3MB one. So then it's the United States Championship match. Randy Orton, the current champion, because he needs that belt, versus Bobby Roode versus Jinder Mahal versus Rusev Day. I will start us off. I think Rusev's going to take it. It's always silly to bet against Randy because they do love making Randy win stuff that he doesn't need to win. Bobby Roode's not really done anything with it. Jinder's just there to make up the numbers. They don't seem to care about it. I think based on the way it's laid out, if they've had some big heel wins, I think Rusev winning is a big, it's a WrestleMania moment, as they call it. He'll probably end up dropping it on SmackDown back to Randy Orton like the next day, but I think that Rusev is going to win this match. Ross, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a Rusev Day. Winning, for all the same reasons. I don't see Jinder. Jinder's had his time. I was going to say Jinder before, but then I just think Rusev is probably going to win. And Bobby Roode's again, not really done much with the belt. He's not. It doesn't draw me to that belt like when you see Bobby Roode. Because I know he's good, but every time I watch him, I'm like,
yeah.
Apart from your really awesome entrance, I'm like,
It doesn't work as a babyface. It's not a babyface character. It needs to be Vintage, who do you reckon? Are you going to keep believing in Rusev Day?
So the thing for me was, I was thinking back to the last SmackDown, because I was thinking, didn't he wrestle a heel on SmackDown? He did. He wrestled Jinder, which is the perfect heel to get him over as a face. So I think that shows to me that they're really starting to think about going with it and letting us have Rusev Day and letting us have nice things. So yeah, I'm with you. I think Rusev's getting there, and he's kind of synonymous with that belt as well, isn't he? He's held that belt a few times. So
yeah, it's definitely his. If he has a title, it's the US title. Interesting, a clean sweep for Rusev. We haven't had too many complete agreements on this, which is good. Which takes us to the Intercontinental title match. The Miz versus Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins. Seth back as a singles competitor. He's got no other tag partners left to injure, although he's in there with Balor, which is always a worry. Ross, who do you think?
I think Miz is going to retain purely because they want to probably break this record that they keep harping on about. And every time WWE harps on about a record, it's obvious that they just want to try and kind of like go, hey, look, you know, the other guys that held this Intercontinental Championship, well, now our modern guys, you know, we've held it longer, and The Miz, he's held it longer, and I think that's what they're going to do. Whereas personally, I think Finn should win, but I think purely from the way they've been going, I think Miz is going to retain. And also, he's just had his baby as well, so there'll be another thing of like, oh yeah, you've changed as a champion, you know, now that you have your kid. But he'll do the same thing. He'll still like fuck over.
Bleep. It's all right. It's what you just got to just put a little marker. Yeah, he'll just do something with either the Miz Taraj or something will distract someone or something. He'll do a dirty way of winning, and he'll show that he hasn't changed.
He hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Monroe hasn't changed him. Vintage, what do you reckon? You're the biggest Miz fan in the world. Who's going to win this one?
You're right. I am a very big Miz fan. Therefore, I think he's overdue some paternity leave, and I think he's going to drop the belt. And him and Maurice are going to spend some quality time with little Melon or
Monroe,
or whatever. Another M, basically. 3 M's, triple M.
3M baby.
Yes, and I think he's dropping it to Finn.
I think he's going to drop it to Finn. Okay. Yeah. I agree with you. Actually, I think it's going to be Finn that takes it. I think Miz has held it for a while. I think he'll drop it. Probably take a bit of time off, come back, and then probably maybe do a little program with Daniel Bryan. I don't know. So that'd be nice to see. Or I would like to see him do a program with Chris Jericho. I'd like to see he and Jericho feud over, like the belt get vacated or something, and he and Jericho feud over the belt to see who's the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, something like that. But that's down the road. Right now, I think he's dropping to Finn. Finn a clean loss from Rollins on Raw this week. That's usually a pretty good indicator that he's going over from the pay-per-view. So double Finns.
That was the other reason I had it back in my head, because of the one on TV.
Yeah, so you told me that. You told me that, so I stole it from you. That's how I roll. That's how I get in the big leagues.
You wait. It'll be a Miz a win.
Believe in the Miz. So now we finally made it to some championship matches, but these are the women's championship matches. So we'll start off with the Raw.
We had the tag team matches that we've done already, by the way.
We've done all the tag
singles gold.
Yeah, singles gold.
Although we had the mid-card belts.
But world titles. The mid-card belts aren't world titles. And they're genuine. The women's titles, I think, are more prestigious than the mid-card belts now. I think they have been built up to they can headline pay-per-views, whereas mid-card belts, I mean, 92 probably was the last time one headlined. But
I'm getting a bit worried because we kind of predicted a lot of title changes, and they can't change all the titles.
No, they can't. Well, let's see how it'll go on this one. Alexa Bliss defends her Raw Women's title against Nia Jax. Vintage, who have you got and why?
Because of that, I kind of have to... The thing is, they kind of did the payoff for the Nia Jax storyline. But I think this is probably one of the only few matches where the champion can retain. I could see Alexa retaining and then Carmella cashing in on Alexa. I think that could work.
Yeah, that absolutely works.
So it's a retention, but still a title change, so it's not as bad. Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay. You're going to go with Alexa I am also going to go with Alexa, mostly for similar reasons. There are a lot of title changes that I think probably need to happen on this card, and this is one that doesn't. I think this feud can run a bit longer as well, and it doesn't necessarily need the title involved, so you can take the belt out through various means, and it would still work. So yeah, I think that Alexa. That rascally Alexa will somehow find a way to get past Nia Jax. No, it won't be her Batista this time. Ross, what do you reckon?
Swerve. Nia Jax. Nia Jax is going to win. I think to build her as in the storyline, it would work and it makes sense for her to win. And also, I said the Miz retained, so technically, I've got still another light title change spare, so it's probably going to be the women's title match. And then I think there'll be a failed cash in with Carmella after all this. I think she'll. I hope that she fails, even though she's been failing every single week on SmackDown. Like with the slowest referees just looking at her, going, "Yeah, you sure you want to cash this in? Okay, yeah, you sure?" and then go, "Oh no, that was a failed cash in. She didn't manage to do it." And you're like, "Oh," so. I just want her to just lose it, like Baron Corbin after all this time, just Baron Corbin.
I gotta say, the fact that Mickie James, years after being involved in the Piggy James stuff with Michelle McCool, which is one of the worst things that they, in the dying days of the bad era of women's wrestling in WWE, just one final awful pigsty of an angle of fat-shaming Mickie James, who is the size of a normal person. The fact that she is now in a storyline where she is fat-shaming another wrestler is kind of twisted. But yay WWE for bringing that to us. So 1 for Nia, 2 for Alexa. I tell you what, we will jump ahead 1 point before we do the SmackDown Women's title, because we have a bonus round that I think 2 of us have already answered, which is, will there be a cash-in or will there not be a cash-in? You're both saying cash-in.
Is there another point for successful or
no? I think they just have to attempt. It has to, and it has to be like the briefcase has to be handed over, and then it has to be either they win the belt or they don't, or they lose the briefcase for it to be a cash in.
What do you think?
I think there will be. I think it's going to be Carmella with the heist of the century. I think she's going to come running in, curb stomp Asuka, and leave with the title. No, I would love it if she.
I take it back. That would be my biggest pop of the night.
That would be amazing. I would love it if she runs down, gets into the ring with Asuka and Charlotte Flair, and they both just stop wrestling and turn and look at her and just murder, just take her out. And that's her out.
I totally forgot that was. I was doing Raw. I was talking about the Raw Women's Championship.
I know, but I think that's actually quite plausible. It's a good swerve to have her do that, and it keeps that interest that actually Money in the Bank could go to either place, because they've done that with the Rumble recently, and I think that makes it interesing.
So, if I can, my reasons for that were it creates the shake-up as well, so you have some brand switching. Without having to go through the whole storyline of doing a brand shake-up. So it keeps the women's division more interesting. Number 2, you've got the fact that Carmella could feasibly go over on Alexa and people will believe it. I can't see her going over on the other 2.
Yeah.
I think if she doesn't cash in the Raw match and they let her try and cash in on the SmackDown one, it's going to be a failed one. And there has to be a cash-in because they've teased it so much to remind us that it can happen. So when it does happen at WrestleMania, we know what's going on. They're kind of sowing the seeds for us.
Sure.
So something is definitely happening. If it's Raw, it's going to be successful. If it's SmackDown, it's going to fail. And I think the issue is that she can't hang with those 2 in SmackDown. She's just not ready. They've not built her up enough So unfortunately, I could see it being a failed cash-in. But I'm sticking with the original prediction that she's going to try and cash in.
Will be a cash-in. Cool. She'll be in the Raw match. She's going to win the Raw Women's title. She's going to take it with her back to SmackDown, and it'll just get really confusing. There'll be both women's titles on one show. Right, okay then. So let's do the other women's title match. Charlotte Flair versus Asuka. This has the potential to be very exciting. I will start us. I think it's going to be Asuka. I think they are starting to get doubts over whether Asuka versus Ronda Rousey is the future, is next year's Mania match, but I think they are not done. I don't think they've done making money from this Asuka winning streak, so I think they'll keep it going for a bit longer, and a win over Charlotte will just kind of push her even further. And there'll be like a handshake at the end, and she'll raise Asuka's hand, something like that. I did really like Charlotte standing up to her on this week's SmackDown, snatching the mic away from her in the middle of her "Nobody's ready for Asuka," like she's just sick of hearing it. I think that's really nice. There's a good contrast of styles here. I think it'd be a great match, but yeah, I think Asuka is going over. Ross, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think Asuka's going to win. I think they're still going to build her up. I think they're not done with her streak. They always go on about they always like to talk about streaks and stuff. So I think they're going to carry on her undefeated streak until they get a better. Maybe Ronda Rousey until she eventually becomes good. Don't know how long that'll be, but yeah, I think that.
Okay, so we've got another Asuka vintage. What do you reckon? Gonna swerve it?
It all depends on what happens with the Ronda match, doesn't it? The thing is, the only person you can see breaking the streak at this point in time is Charlotte's. It's either Charlotte or Ronda, and Ronda's not going to break it until WrestleMania next year. But the difficulty is they can't put the belt on Asuka because then they've got nowhere to go with her.
Yeah.
Unless they give her a one-year title run like they've done with Brock. I could see that. I could see that happening because it has worked for them with Brock. So you both said Asuka, yeah?
Both said Asuka.
Oh, it's so hard.
If you go Asuka, it'll be the only main card match that we agree on, other than Rusev is definitely winning the US title.
And it's so hard because you've got the cash-in factor as well. Oh, it's so hard. It's good though. I mean, it's
that's what we want. That's what we want from WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's probably been the best WrestleMania we've had in at least the last 5 years, isn't it?
It's really exciting.
It's really good WrestleMania. I'm going to say, I think. Let's break the streak. Go on, let's break the streak.
Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, let's retain. Charlotte can retain the belt, and we're breaking the streak. It's happening.
Ooh, bold. Streak is gonna be broken. Which brings us to, I think, probably the most exciting match of the night. Certainly for most people, Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon. I cannot even believe I'm saying this. Daniel Bryan wrestling at WrestleMania, teaming with Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. If Owens and Zayn win, they get their jobs back, but they'll get them back somehow anyway, so don't let that sway you. Daniel Bryan's wrestling. Ross, you're the biggest Daniel Bryan fan in the world. You missed our Daniel Bryan is back show, which we were very happy about. How happy are you that Daniel Bryan is back in the ring?
Yes!
Who's going to win the match?
If Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon don't win, I will riot. But so I think they will. You cannot go, okay, we're going to bring you back and we're going to put you in a tag match, and then actually all the crowd are going to be behind you, but we're going to make you lose because we need to give these guys jobs back. So they're going to make them win. They're going to have Kevin and Sami get their jobs back some other way, some other hat, like whether that means that they have to do something else for it. I don't know, but they definitely have to have Daniel Bryan and Shane. I really wished it was a triple threat. I really thought it would have been better to have made this where Kevin and Sammy break up and then Daniel Bryan gets involved and there's a triple threat, because I think those three would be amazing altogether. And it's just a bit annoying that Shane McMahon's a bit better from diverticulitis. It's good that he's better because, but
he was dancing like he was fine.
Yeah.
I bet it's all that horse hormone that he's.
I mean, he always sort of dances like he's got a hurting colon, though, so it's hard to tell. Weird dance. So Daniel Bryan is going to go over with Shane McMahon, everyone shouting, yes. Vintage, is that going to happen?
Why would they do that to us? Why would they give us nice things, really? But just to finish off the point, I think it's crazy, isn't it? The fact that Shane's recovered so quickly.
Yeah.
And they made the point of that whole segment was to make the point that he was better, because it's not like they did anything else with Cammy on that segment.
Sure.
And I still think it's all the horse tranquilizer. No, not horse tranquilizer, horse hormone that he's injecting into himself, because that's the latest theory. I know I messaged you previously about Dave Meltzer being on something because he's absolutely massive. They think Shane McMahon's on the same horse hormone that Dave Meltzer's on.
For the sake of me not having to edit this whole section out, these are just rumours that are online, and we neither believe nor disbelieve them. They're just things people are saying which are unsubstantiated. Who's winning the match?
It's not like Dave Meltzer's listening. I think Dave Meltzer's winning this match.
I mean, if we've that's the thing, is if Dave Meltzer wanted to sue us, he'd have to admit that he listened to our show.
It's almost worth it.
I'd like to think he wouldn't. Who is winning the match, Vintage? I think it could only be Daniel Bryan and horse hormone. Bryan and Shane. Everyone's going to get their WrestleMania moment. Everyone's going to cheer and be happy because Daniel Bryan is back and he's winning. Except he's not. He's not. Shane McMahon is going to betray him in the middle of the match and turn heel and join with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, because this is WWE. And that is what happens in WWE. And the match is going to end with Daniel Bryan laid out and a new heels faction walking out tall, having won the match.
That is genius. I could see that happening.
Yep. And then you have Daniel Bryan feuding with a heel McMahon running the promotion. That is the only way you book Daniel Bryan when he comes back, I'm sure. So I am saying Owens and Zayn will win this match. Or Owens, Zayn and Shane. And eventually wrestling will win this match. So I will be there to comfort you when you cry, Ross. But I'm sorry, Daniel Bryan is not winning this match.
That's the thing, though. My heart wants me to think that they're winning and they can put this to bed, and Daniel Bryan can move on to have all the dream matches that we want him to. But in reality, I think exactly as you said, Spoon, that they want to draw it out and they want to keep on doing this because, they've got other good guys there as well, and it keeps Daniel Bryan busy. If they were to do this heel faction, I can see it working.
They need I can tell you it's going to be, because they teased it on SmackDown. Daniel Bryan is going to go to give Shane a hug when they're about to win. He's going to do the whole hug it out thing like they did. Shane will look like, is he going to do it? Then he'll go to hug him, and then he's going to kick him in the crotch and throw him at Sami Zayn. Pop up powerbomb pin. They're going to kill our dreams. That's going to be... But it's fine, because, we're going to go off air with a big celebration. Potentially after that, yay, old people fighting. It's Kurt Angle with Ronda Rousey versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. We've seen all the build-up. This one is going to be an in-ring masterclass between Stephanie, who has been training and things that aren't wrestling in all the segments, and Ronda Rousey, who sort of did a table bump recently. She
can't do anything well wrestling related, can she?
Oh God, It's let's start with you, Vintage. Who's going to win this match?
Well, they've broken the streak, haven't they? So, I'll do Ross first.
All right then, Ross. Who's winning?
The faces, I think.
Yeah, you think Kurt and Ronda.
Kurt Angle and the not ready Ronda Rousey.
not ready Ronda.
Yeah. I just think that every time I see her, like in up to the weeds, she's not good. She's not great on the mic. Like the bump she took on Raw was a bit odd because she took it and then she was just kind of like looking like really weirdly at Stephanie McMahon, just looking at her. And it's like usually wrestlers just pretend like they're really hurt or they're just, but she was just looking at Stephanie for ages. So this is so weird.
It was like she was going, was that right?
Yeah.
Did I do it all right?
Did I do it? Did I do it good?
Bump good?
Yeah, there'll be a ridiculous Triple H Stephanie entrance, and then
I can't wait for that.
Those two will come out. Yeah. At least it's not sponsored by Terminator this time, so Yeah. So yeah, that's what I think.
Do you reckon Kurt will come out in a Ronda Rousey shirt and look like he won a competition, like when he got to dress as the Shield?
Yeah.
Just be really happy.
Cosplaying as Ronda Rousey.
Oh my
or
goodness!
Do you reckon he's going to wear a kilt and just go as Roddy Roddy Piper?
Hot Rod. Oh, Vintage. Got a decision yet?
Right, I did. The thing is, I think that they're getting really worried about Ronda now, so I could see them pulling back on her now and making her do the job. I could see that happening, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think they would like to cash. I think they'd like to just say no, give up on Ronda now. She could be the next Mark Henry,
Yeah.
I can see that happen. Where they push her to the moon, realise that she's no good, drop her down to the lower mid card for years until she finally gets good, and then she can have an upper mid card run.
Then she could have a 3-month amazing main event run and then retire. So you reckon Kurt and Ronda? Yeah, let's go Kurt and Ronda. Okay, it's the obvious thing, It is. It feels like it would be insane to not have Ronda Rousey win her first match. However, Triple H did beat Sting. If you remember that made no sense. Never underestimate Triple H's desire to just book himself to win a match. However, I think given that what I think will happen in the Daniel Bryan match, I think this is going to be the crowd lift afterwards. I think they'll do something big with that. So I'm going to agree. We're going to have our second clean sweep of the thing, and I'm going to say Kurt and Ronda for that one. I think the irony is that you know how when Triple H was at the top of his game, excuse the pun, and he created that huge glass ceiling, and what did they call it? The era of burying people. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, it had a name. The irony is, I think Steph is actually burying more people than Triple H did during that run. Gosh, yeah.
Yeah, she loves it, yeah.
She learned from the best. Okay, so we have sort of a bonus point here, but I have a feeling, I hope we're all going to agree on it, so it may not be a point in doing it. The bonus point is, will John Cena versus The Undertaker happen? What do we think? Vintage, what do you reckon?
So I was listening to some podcasts about this, and we all thought we were going to see him on the Go Home show. We thought Taker was going to turn up. But the point I heard made was they've already sold the tickets by now. It's not like putting Taker on the Go Home show is going to sell more tickets because they've already sold them. So there's no point putting them on Raw. So they might as well just save it for WrestleMania, have the WrestleMania moment. So I think it's happening. And I think Taker's going over. Yeah,
I think, let's do that one all in one go. I think I think it is happening. I think it's going to be the American Badass because I think the reason they haven't had him come out before is because they want to keep it a surprise. And if you remember when he first debuted as the American Badass, it was a kind of they did big sort of haunting package, and then there's the Kid Rock song. So I think there'll be a Kid Rock concert, and then he'll come down on his bike, and he'll say one more match, and they'll have their match. And yeah, I think Taker is going to go over and then retire on a high. Although that doesn't really fit with retiring on your back like he normally does, but he's already done
he
right.
He's retired his back already, so
yeah, he's already retired on his back. It's Cena. He doesn't need to lie down for Cena. No, Cena doesn't need that. Ross, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think he's going to come back. Like you said, is Kid Rock being inducted into the Hall of Fame? Was that last year?
He is.
So he's definitely going to be there because they come out, don't they? And they do their little waving to the crowd thing. So he's going to be there. They'll do that live entrance. Like they'll do maybe a segment of Kid Rock. No one knows what he's going to play, and then he starts playing that. Then he'll come out on his bike, come down, and they'll say, "Call out John Cena." And I think I don't think they're going to retire him. I don't think this is going to be his last match because. What he'll probably do is he'll keep retiring every character he's ever played. So he'll lose eventually as the American Badass, in the future, and he'll put his bike in the middle of the ring.
Do you think is it going to be Roman Reigns that retires him again? Is Roman Reigns just going to retire all of the Undertaker's characters until he's just beating up Mean Mark?
I'm just Mark Calloway. What are you doing?
I'm just playing golf. Undertaker doesn't play. Mark Calloway doesn't play golf. What example is that?
So I think he's going.
Is he going? Because Cena said he's just going to buy a ticket. So Cena's going to be sitting in the crowd. Taker's just going to come out and just choke slam him over the barrier into the ring, and I think this could be fun. It'll be a big pop. I don't think it'll be very long. I hope Taker wins. So there's an agreement on that one, which brings us to we've only got 2 matches left. We're almost there.
What am I going to do with my life? What am I going to do with my life after we've done these?
We're going to watch WrestleMania. Stuff
NXT,
up with
surely.
Yeah. So I think the most exciting championship match on the card. I think everyone thinks that, except Vince McMahon, but who knows? The WWE Championship match. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Ross, who have you got and why?
Shinsuke. I think Shinsuke's time. I think it's his time to become champ. I think hopefully this match will be a really good match. I don't know if they'll be able to reproduce what they've done before, but hopefully, they can't because WWE is so strict on certain things anyway. So it will be hopefully a really, really good match. AJ Styles puts on amazing matches anyway, and I want to see a really good Shinsuke match. I haven't seen that just yet. I haven't seen I've seen his old stuff and it was really good, and I want to see that. I want to see that side. I haven't seen that yet. So I'm going to say Shinsuke.
Okay, Vintage. What do you reckon?
AJ's retaining because I need more champions to retain.
Yeah, I'm almost with you on that. Given what we know is probably going to happen in the Universal title match, I could see that happening, but I think Shinsuke is probably going out. I don't know, just the way they've done it. I feel like they have buried the idea of the Royal Rumble so many times in recent years. I think this year they feel like they want to do something with it. So I think Nakamura is going to win the belt. I think it's his time. And I think it would be a good thing. Annoyingly, this is probably going to be on like first or third. It's going to be buried somewhere in the card, which is such a shame that they do that now. But it's not going to be given. Hopefully, it'll be given time. If it's given time, it could be the match of the night. But we'll see. But I think Nakamura is going to take it, which takes us to our final match of the evening, which may be quite a quick one to predict, as weirdly they always seem to be when we come to Raw main event matches. And that is Brock Lesnar, the Universal Champion, defending against Roman Reigns, the big dog, who is he suspended? Is he? I don't know. Kurt's got no actual power. Kurt seems to keep trying to ground him, and everyone's just like, no. And he's like, oh all right. Sorry.
He walks around just go, hey, you get it? And he's just, no. Oh, okay.
You kids.
Walking around with his gormless face, just not really knowing what to do.
He's probably the most over person in that tag team match, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could be. He's going back to Kurt. We're not going to talk about predictions for the Raw after WrestleMania, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kurt gets fired on it. They tend to change Raw general managers.
And look at Hogan coming in as well.
Well, he could be the new Raw GM. He could be the new SmackDown GM if Daniel Bryan's going back in the ring, which would be rubbish.
Well, Shane keep it as an authority stable gimmick.
Yeah, that could also work. So a lot of interesting things. But right now, let's talk about the Universal title match. Vintage, who is going to win the Universal Championship match? It's a tough one, isn't it?
It's a shame we left this on till last, really, isn't it?
I know, it's a shame WWE leaves this one on till last, frankly. But
well, it's Roman, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Roman. Ross?
Brock Lesnar.
Oh! Right, I'm writing it down. You've got it.
Yeah, I'm just going to go for Brock Lesnar. I think this is all an elaborate thing of, WWE like teasing that, he's a one-day champion and, he's going to do all this, he's going to leave and go to UFC. I think he's just going to retain.
I think Carmella is going to cash in.
Yeah.
Oh wow! I think Ross is on something. I think you're right. I think it's all smoke and mirrors. It's as fake as Shane's diverticulitis.
I hope it's not, because if it's not, we've got to do this all again. We've got to do another year of this and have the same main event at next year's WrestleMania. I want it done. It's the millstone around WWE's storylines.
Yeah.
I think it'll be done. I think Brock will leave. I believe Heyman is staying. And which I think is good, because I think if Heyman stays, we will see Samoa Joe wear the Universal title within a year, because Heyman's a huge fan.
I think he should manage Ronda Rousey.
Yes, he needs. Oh goodness, yes, she needs that, because Kurt can't even remember her name. Kurt kept calling her Ronda Rowdy, so I think she needs a different advocate. But yes, I hope this is just over. I just want it done. Yeah. And I feel that no matter how good WrestleMania is, and I think it will be very good, there will be a bit of us that feels like that by the end of the show. I think we'll just be like, I think if Roman finally wins, we'll just be like, oh, it's done. It's finished. That is over. We can go back home and live our lives.
And apparently the rumour is that the Romans feuding with Samoa Joe as well after Mania, so and
I think that'd be great. I think they will put on a barnstormer. I think they'll be really, really good. No one is going to cheer Roman Reigns against Samoa Joe. I can tell you that right away.
Yeah, Joe will probably get buried as well during that feud.
Yeah, there's a good chance. But we will see. We will see. So let's go and enjoy WrestleMania. Let's go and enjoy NXT TakeOver. Let's go and enjoy, if you're watching any of the other crazy wrestling things that are happening around that Hall of Fame. Vintage, is there anything interesting happening in wrestling this weekend that you're looking forward to?
I've got a double header this weekend.
You got a double header?
Yes. We've got an Apex show on Saturday and a Sacrifice show on Sunday.
Whoa.
Nice.
WrestleMania weekend is a busy time for everybody. Do you know what kind of matches you're going to be wrestling yet?
Main event for Apex on Saturday. And I'm in a battle royal, which is not named because you don't name battle royals. Right. Oh no, it's a battle royal for a golden opportunity on Sunday.
Golden opportunity. That doesn't sound in the least bit sexual.
I'm going to pronounce them now.
You're literally just destroying my reputation.
I'll tell Flex.
On the indie. Tell Flex. Thanks, Flex. All right, well, enjoy WrestleMania, everybody. Enjoy the many fantastic matches. I think there's going to be some really, really good ones on there. There'll be some weird moments. There'll be some guest spots. Some of it's going to be rubbish. Some of it's going to be incredible. That's the joy of this weekend, and it is a wonderful weekend. And just remember, by the end of it, hopefully, if everything comes together, we will be done with this stupid Roman Reigns title chasing thing. It'll be done. We'll be free.
Yes.
See you later, guys.
Bye.